right, so this is the first homework assignment we had for the functions and linear relations unit, and we're only going to do a couple of the sections from this unit. We're really only going to have 2 actual homework pages. The second page was split into 2 homework assignments in the grade book, so 3 homework assignments total from this unit, and then we're actually going to kind of move forward. This one was just more of a review of functions and linear relations. So we start off here just kind of going through and reviewing the coordinate grid. So on this one, I know I did this in class with everybody. The middle here, this is called the origin. And then we have the x-axis, because x-axis always runs right to left. And then we have the y-axis, which runs up and down. And then we also have the quadrants. I'll put those in red here. So we have quadrant, and I'm just going to write quad 1, so that starts in the top right corner. And then we actually kind of go counterclockwise. So quad number 2 is actually to the left, and then we go down here for quad number 3, and then quad number 4. And we usually do these in Roman numerals for whatever reason. But if you write the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4, that's also perfectly fine. So what we did in class together was we just went through and got the coordinate point for each one of the points that they're requesting. So we can see A through H here that they're requesting the ordered pair for. So first you have to write ordered pair, X, Y. And then they're also asking for which quadrant it's in. Okay. So the first part here, if we just go through and do the ordered pair, remember we have X and Y. So we'll do a couple of these. I think I had done 4 of them in class with the students. So if we go down here and when we look, here's A. So I can see I went to the left, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spaces to the right. So I'm going to go positive 10, and then I went 2 spaces down. Since I went down, it's a negative 2. And then if I want to know what quadrant it's in, well, as long as it's in this box here, it's not on the lines. I can't have it on the X and the Y axis. But as long as it's not on the lines, it's just in the box, in that area, then we would say that's quadrant 4. Okay. Now B, so B is over here. So I'm going to go to the left. And since I know this is 10 wide in either direction, I know that I went to the left 8. Since I went left, it's negative 8. And then I'm going to go up. Woo, that was a wiggly line. Up. And again, since it's 1 from the top, I know I went up 9. Just kind of using elimination there instead of counting. And then again, because it's in this box, not on an axis, it's in that area. This is quadrant 2. C, so I can see that C is down here. So I'm going to the left again, and that's 3 to the left and 2 down. So 3 to the left, negative. 2 down, also negative. So you do have to make sure that you understand that the negatives and positives. So for the x-axis, right is positive, left is negative. For the y-axis, up is positive, down is negative. So that is very important. If you don't put the negatives and positives correctly, you won't be in the correct place. And think of it like giving directions. You have to give those directions correctly, or, say if you gave directions wrong to a friend, they may not end up where you want them to end up. So you need to be very specific. And the way we do that with the coordinate grid is with negatives and positives. That tells me which way to go. All right, so the very last one here is D. Well, the last one I'm going to do on this video anyway. Oh, I forgot to put the quadrant on the last one. Sorry. Quadrant 3. Because we can see that it's down here in this bottom left corner. All right, so now let's look at D. So D, I have to go to the right 4. But then I stop. I'm not going up or down. I'm on the x-axis. So that means that I still have to put a number here, but it's just 0. And 0 tells me don't move. Stay where you are. So don't go up or down. Just stay there. And when it's on an x or y axis, or if it was on the origin, which we don't by chance have any on this one, but if it was on the origin, then we literally write those words in. So since it's on the x-axis, I would just write x-axis here. You don't give it a quadrant because it could be in quadrant 1 or quadrant 2, right? Aren't they both kind of lining with that line there? So that means that we don't put them in either one. We just say that it's in between. It's on the x-axis. All right, so if we scooch down. So this is similar to something that you're going to do on the test. The only difference is they're having you fill out just a little bit more On the test, they're going to give you ordered pairs or a table or a graph. So let's go ahead and fill those out really quick. So in this case, they gave me ordered pairs. So I'm just going to take each one of these and put them in the table here. So for the ordered pairs, remember, goes x, y, x, y, x, y. It just goes over and over again, which is why we call them ordered pairs. They're always in order. Let me get rid of those x, y's just because they're a little funky looking. So for the first one, I have 4, -1. For the second one, I have 6 and 2. -7, -6 for that third one. Fourth one, -5, 2. Fifth one, -1, -8. So I just transferred them from ordered pairs to table. It's just a different format to look at the exact same information. Now we're going to go ahead and graph those. So remember, with these ones, if it's a +4, I'm going to go to the right. -y, I'm going to go down. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And that's my first point. And then I'm going to go to the right 6 and up 2. So 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. There we go. And now -7 tells me I'm going to go to the left 7. And -6 tells me I'm going to go down 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. -5, I'm going to go to the left 5. And I'm going to go up 2 since it's a +2. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, like that. And then the last one here, I'm going to go to the left 1 and down 8. So left 1 and all the way down to the bottom since these are 8 wide. So now I have ordered pairs, I have a table, and I have a graph. This is just 3 different ways to represent the exact same information. Okay, so on the test, they're going to give you either ordered pairs, a table, or a graph. And then they're going to ask you to write the domain and the range for those. So whichever one they give you, just remember the domain is the x values, or the x coordinates, and the range are the y values. Okay, that's it. So you're just separating the 2 things out into a list. So the x values, if they give you ordered pairs, you're just going to go through and grab all the very first ones. Right? So I have 4, 6, -7, -5, -1. If they give you a table, it's just the x values in that table. If they give you a graph, you just need to go through and you can either write the coordinates next to each point, or you can go through and figure out what is my x value for each one of these, right? Where did I land on that x line? So with this one, it was to 7, and then this one was 6. This one was -1, so that was -7, -6, and -1. This one's 4, and then this one was 6. Right, so it just, depending on how you want to do that, I know I had a lot of students go through and literally write out the coordinates for each one of these. I would suggest you do that because it makes it a lot easier to grab both domain and range. So I would just list these 4, 6, -7, -2, or -5, and -1. You should have little brackets, these little kind of fun, fancy brackets around them. I'm not necessarily marking that off if you don't have them, but it is correct notation, so just keep that in mind for the future, because especially moving into algebra, they may expect that. If something is repeated, then you do not actually write it twice. So say if I had another number here and I had another -1 or another 4, I wouldn't write it in the list. But if you do, again, I'm not marking off of that, but other teachers do. Keep that in mind. Right now, I'm just interested in knowing whether or not you understand how to separate the 2, domain and range. But it is something that we will get more picky about in the future. So for range, if you're given ordered pairs, you're just going to go through and get the second number from each coordinate. If it's in a table, it's just the y values in the table. If it's on a graph, again, if you've gone through and you've given all the coordinates for these, then you'll very easily be able to go and grab the y values for each one. Or you could just go to the side this time to look at where you landed on the y values for height on these ones. So I'm going to back up just so that's not super messy. So I just put these in a list, -1 to -6 to -8. So I don't have anything repeated in either domain or range, so I don't have to worry. I do, because I have 2. So I wouldn't actually need to put that second 2 in. So that is something that you could get marked wrong by certain teachers. I know I'm not picking on it for now, but depending on the teacher, they may. And then if they ask you whether or not this is a function, I know this is just the relations section, but we're going to get to that point where whether or not it's a function, which we will be asked on the test. We're actually looking at domain only when we're asking that question. So we're saying, does anything repeat? If nothing repeats, it is a function. If anything repeats in the domain, it is not a function. So you can see that in the list, nothing repeats, and you can do that on this graph by looking at vertical lines. As long as I can't draw a vertical line through any more than one point, it is also a function, and we call that the vertical line test. That's a little farther than you need to go on this homework, so I'm going to go back because this is all you need to do on this homework is just fill out the table, fill out the graph, and fill out the domain and the range. Okay, and that's all you're doing through the whole back here. For this one, so this is where you're starting to determine whether or not it's a function. So this is what I was talking about, where you're going to look at the domain. And you look at domain only. You don't care about range in this situation. But if something repeats in the domain, which I can see -4 repeating, this is not a function because domain repeated. Same thing, so you'd go through and you look at the next one. Does the domain repeat? If it does not repeat, it's a function. If it does repeat, then it's not a function. I might have just said that backwards. Sorry, I just thought about what I was saying. So I'm going to say it one more time just to make sure. If it does not repeat, then it is a function. But if it does repeat, it's not a function. So when you're going through the table, again, you're just looking at the domain. You do not even care about the y values when you're answering this question, whether or not it's a function. You only care about the x values. And when you're looking at a table, the easiest, or not a table, sorry, a graph, the easiest way to do it is that vertical line test. Just draw vertical lines. If you can draw a vertical line through any more than one point, it's a really horrible vertical line. Woo, still very wiggly. But if you can draw it through any more than one point, then it's not a function. So this one is a yes, this is a function, because I didn't cross any more than one point with any one vertical line. But with this one, this vertical line did cross 2 points, so this one would be a no. Okay, so that's it. That's the first homework, sorry, for this section. And I also did a little bit of the test review on this one, so it might have been a little bit of extra information just for the homework, but hopefully that'll help you review for the test as well. So thanks, and I'll see you in the next video.